Niecy Nash has had a busy TV season starring as Desna Sims on Claws, and Lifetime's ripped from the headlines TV movie Stolen by My Mother, the Kamaya Mobley story. I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, here with a multiple Emmy nominee and winner. Niecy, how did you come to play Gloria Williams in Stolen by My Mother?
How did I come to play Gloria? Let me think about this, because I had a lot of projects that I did around the same time. I think originally my youngest daughter, this was a project that she was going to audition for. And I ended up knowing one of the casting directors, and I was like, hey, my daughter is coming in, look out for her. And, you know, we chatted about the project, and the next thing I know, I ended up getting an offer to do the project, and there you have it.
You know, your character, she's reeling from a miscarriage. She literally walks into a hospital, posing as a nurse, abducts a newborn baby out of her mother's arms and raises a child as her own. To me, that's like science fiction. Like, I cannot believe that happened. It's almost too crazy to be true, don't you think?
Well, you know, here's the other thing about this particular story. It is a true story, and all of the women involved are still living. So you have a great responsibility when you show up in this kind of storytelling to get it right. And I feel like Gloria Williams had been waiting for this day for 18 years, because at some point she knew the bottom was going to fall out of it and all the cards were going to be revealed.
Yeah, like I always wondered, because this is not the first time you played a real life person, particularly one that's still living. How much more challenging is it? Like, is there a lot of pressure to get it right, particularly when that person will actually see what you've done to recreate them?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think it's weightier if the person is still alive, because you do want to make sure that you get it right, you know? And I had people who reached out to me and said, I thought I had my mind made up about this woman. And then after watching this portrayal, I empathize with the kidnapper. How is that even possible? You know, and I don't know, you know, I just try to tap into the footage that I found of her and stand in her shoes as best I could.
You know, I'm telling you, I watched the movie and I felt sorry for her. Like, I empathized with her, and she's the one that stole a baby. It's an unspeakable crime or act that she has perpetrated, and yet there's something about her which you have been able to bring out on screen that really makes us empathize. Why do you think that is?
You know, I think that, well, first of all, let me say there are no winners in this story, not a woman. All of these women are in so much pain. And I think that leading with the pain is the thing that allowed, viewers to tap into the heart and the mind of this woman. Because in order to commit an act like that, you have to be hurting somewhere.
So when you're preparing to play her, did you feel sorry for yourself? Did you relate to her? How do you get into the mind of a character if you don't relate to them?
Well, you find the commonplaces where you intersect. I'm also a mother. And the baby she took was not her first child. She had 2 other children before she took that baby. So I'm a mother. I've also experienced trauma and pain in my life. And sometimes things hurt you to a point where you don't recognize yourself. And you have to remember the heart. What I do, I try to remember the parts of my life that could intersect the feeling that my character is experiencing, and I go from there.
Yeah. Let's drill down into a couple of scenes of the film itself that I found to be highlights. One in particular, it was fascinating, the scene in the courtroom when Gloria was being handed down her sentence, and the crowd in the courtroom are clapping because they're happy that, justice is being served. And she's taking on the gravity of what she's done and the price she has to pay. Can you take us back to shooting that scene and how challenging it was to get that particular tone right?
Yeah, well, with that particular scene, I was able to see the footage of Gloria in the courtroom and her sentencing and all of those things. So I was able to follow it. And then I asked myself the question, how is she so composed? I mean, literally, my knees would have given out underneath me. But I realized that mentally, she had been preparing for this moment all of her daughter's life.
Yeah.
So I tried to just make sure that was baked into that performance.
Yeah. And then similarly, I found it really fascinating that Kamaya, or Alexis, depending on where she's living, is told about her past and yet was so aligned to Gloria and not her birth mother, which I'm sure is what happened in real life. But I found it quite confronting that she was just not interested in going back to her birth mother because she was so aligned with Gloria and who she felt was her real mother.
See, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that you have to consider from Alexis or Kamaya. It is the fact that Gloria was the only mother she ever knew. And you are not talking about a child who was abused, who was tortured, who was mistreated. She had everything she could ever want. She was great friends with her mother. They shop together. They wore their hair the same. She bought her everything. She doted on her. So, and then you take her real mother, Shannara Mobley was somebody she never knew.
Yeah.
So it is understandable that you would lean in and say, wait, I don't know these people at all. But I know who I thought my mother was. And that's what she was holding on to, because you got to remember everything. Now, you talk about the one who suffered the most, it has to be her. Your whole world will change overnight. And it's not your fault. You play zero parts to what has happened to you. So there was, like I said, suffering and pain all around.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating story. Like, it could have been done just so simply as a gotcha, the mother's bad and she took the child, but it really, there's a lot to think about on this one. And yeah, I'm sure you found it quite rewarding to put a different spin on what people are expecting.
Sure, because, people don't just happen into tight or bad situations. There is something that manifested in your life prior to that got you to that point.
Yeah.
So, trying to show her backstory, trying to show the places in her life that were painful and charged and caused her. And another thing that people discount sometimes is mental illness, because sometimes you can't see that. You can't see it on the outside the moment that there is a snap or a break in your consciousness that would make you do something that you never thought you would do.
Yeah. Let's shift gears a bit, because given that Gold Derby is obsessed with awards, we really should talk about your awards history. At this stage in your career, you've won an Emmy for Clean House. You've got critical acclaim for Reno 911. Just every time I think about what you guys are doing on that show, it makes me laugh in a good way. You've got 2 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations as Dee Dee on Getting On, and you got nominated last year for When They See Us. That's a pretty good run so far, don't you think?
And I just found out today that I won a Gracie Allen Award for hosting Black Girls Rock.
It's just never ending. I mean, that's wonderful. Anyway.
I am living the dream right now. That's not lost on me.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to your first nomination for Getting On, because I have to admit, it was a little bit of a surprise. Like, getting on wasn't really that much on the radar, and yet you were included as a nominee. Do you remember the morning of when you were told, or how you found out, and how excited you were that you were actually nominated?
Do I? Okay, so this was my first time getting to star in a vehicle that was, considered a drama of sorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, the way you played it. But anyway, I was working. I had an early call time. I was on set, and I went to go get a cup of coffee when they were turning cameras around. And on my way back, a PA said, "Congratulations, Miss Niecy." I said, "Congratulations for what, baby?" He said, "Oh, I don't know. They said on the walkie that you won something." And I thought it was a raffle. And I was like, "Oh, what did I win? Are they giving away a cheese basket?" And because that's what I thought it was. I had no idea. And then I walked to set and they were like, "Everyone gather around. We want to say congratulations to Niecy Nash, who was nominated for an Emmy." And I started bawling like a baby. I was like, "What are you saying?" I didn't even think people were even watching this show. I don't even know, how did they find me? And I was like, "Oh my God, please don't let it be a mistake." I hope it's not a mistake. But if they find out they put my name on there, I hope they don't take it off. Oh man, that would be tragic.
Oh my God. That is such a good story.
I cried like a baby.
And then you get nominated again. And so I always wonder.
Which is even sweeter, because the second time what I said to myself is, "Oh, they meant to do that. I thought I slipped in the first time some kind of way." But I said, "Oh no, it was intentional." And then I was even more honored.
Yeah, I always wonder, is the first one cooler or the second one? But I think that second one is like, "No, we really like you. We like you a lot."
There you go.
Yeah. So then you got nominated for When They See Us, and you were on the purple carpet last year. I happened to be there. We walked right past each other, and I could see, I think you were with your mum. And
Yes.
yeah, you were. And what was that like to be amongst your When They See Us cast being nominated again?
Listen, I just have to say, I am definitely living the dream, living my dream, and a charmed life. And I was so happy because When They See Us was different. It was set aside. That was more about the exonerated five, as far as I'm concerned. And their voices being heard. And anytime a light could be shown on the project, it was shown on them. So I was beyond grateful for all of the things that came with that particular series.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about Claws for a bit. Production on the fourth and final season has been temporarily shut down amid concerns about the ongoing global pandemic. How bittersweet will it be to go back, though, and finish it off what you have already started?
It will only be bittersweet to go back to Claws after all of this, because I do not know for sure if I will be able to fit my costumes.
Oh, yeah. I hear. Oh, yeah.
My skin-tight jumpsuits, I don't know if I can do it after this. I gotta reel it in right now.
You need maybe some visual effects, but look, you can't be blamed. We're at home, we're eating a lot, it's comfort. What are we supposed to do?
What are we supposed to do?
You just, you got to live a little. But being more serious, Claws, it turns the tables on what we usually see in this genre, because it's about women taking control. Do you love that the show is empowering for women, even if they aren't necessarily doing the right thing?
These are badass women who are doing something that we typically see in television or film. We're doing typically what you would see male characters do. The drugs of it all, the crime of it all, being the leader of it all. And so the fact that we have women leading the charge, and might I add, and I'm going to pull these air quotes from heaven when I say women of a certain age.
Yeah.
Who are making it happen. So yes, I love that.
And I also love how Claws is one of those shows that is a great example of diversity in casting. I think we need more of that. And we've gone quite a long way. Do you think Hollywood's gone far enough yet, or do we still have a long way to go?
I we're getting it. I think we are getting there, but there are so many women whose stories have not been told yet. I'm delighted right now to play a little bit in Mindy Kaling's newest project, Never Have I Ever, which is the coming of age story of a girl from India. So I think that we are moving closer and closer towards understanding that there are so many women from so many backgrounds whose stories haven't been told yet.
Yeah, it reminds me when you bring that up that you've been quite busy, which is wonderful. You're also in Mrs. America as Flo Kennedy. What was your highlight about working on that project?
All of those amazing women. Are you kidding me? Wowzers. Wowzer. I mean, that's a casting dream. It's just who's who. Every girl you've ever loved in Hollywood, you show up and they are there on set. And not only that, equally as nice behind the scenes. Like, we never stop the fellowship. We could be at work 16 hours, it's time to wrap the day, and everybody's like, so, is anyone hungry? What are we gonna do after this? And we still wanted to fellowship with each other. So that was a dream.
Yeah, that is so nice to hear. I'm sure it's not often that you can say, a cast just gets along when the cameras stop rolling. It's very refreshing, I have to admit. My final question is this about you, Niecy. From all the projects I've seen you in, I find that you often play straight shooters and unapologetically strong women. It's what I look forward to when I know this is a Niecy Nash project. Is that coincidental, or are you drawn to women like that?
That's a good question. This may be a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both, but I do know that strong women are delicious. And if they are flawed in any way, it makes it even better to play, for me.
Because they're real, and that's got to be a pleasure.
Very much so.
Niecy, Stolen by My Mother is fascinating. Claws, we hope to see it the final season. You're going to be on our TVs and film screens for a long time to come, and we thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I'm glad we got a chance to chat finally.
Finally. Now, everybody go to Gold Derby, make your predictions, click subscribe. You've got plenty of time. You're at home. And then watch all of our great contender chats with contenders just like Niecy.